We're breaking down anything and everything Utica City FC related. This is the Keeper's Corner podcast with your hosts, Matt Sterling and Brandon Brooks. Let's get into it.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Keeper's Corner podcast. Things are a little more normal this week. Just Matt and Brandon here. But we do have a guest. My voice has returned after being away.
I was going to say, his voice is back. Yeah.
I no longer sound like I have chain smoked 2 packs a day since I was 12 and I'm now in my 70s.
Only 2?
We'll see what happens after the game on Sunday, because I might be right back there.
And I'll be right there with you. Because I'm not missing a home game.
No.
I saw what happened last time.
That was, well, it wasn't as bad as what happened on the road game.
Yeah, no, it wasn't as painful, but yeah, it was something.
Yeah, and we'll certainly get into that. But before we do, I want to just give a quick update for the Kings World Cup. It's been going on over in Milan, Italy. Yesterday,
the Kelvin show.
Yeah. Yesterday, USA was eliminated in the quarterfinals by Morocco. They led in the final minutes. They were up, and then they ended up losing 2-1 in a shootout. That double goal rule in the final few minutes cost them.
I haven't actually caught any of it. I've seen highlights, but other than that, I haven't actually been able to tune into any of it. Unfortunately, but you know, it is what it is.
Mm-hmm. And today, as you mentioned, it was the Kelvin Oliveira show in the matchup between Brazil and Turkey. 6 goals, one of which was a double goal, so 7 points for goals and an assist, and a dominating performance for Brazil. As they move on to the semifinals, they'll play tomorrow at 1 p.m. You can watch on YouTube or Golazo or the KWC website. But Kelvin has done what Kelvin has done to the MASL. He's been one of the best players. He stands atop the goal scorer table, and just out physicaling everybody.
Yeah, no, he's a beast here, and he's clearly a beast there. He's a beast everywhere.
Mm-hmm. He has put the world on notice on 7-a-side format there. And I do want to apologize for not getting an audio edition out this past week of the show. I forgot to hit record on my end, so we just had the YouTube stream to go off of, and with Brandon's audio issues that happened early on in that, I tried playing it, and I know eventually we got it fixed, but it was just unusable for an audio only.
Yeah, I went and listened back to it myself, and yeah, it wasn't good. So, don't know what was going on with me last week, but hopefully I don't sound like a robot this week.
Yeah, hopefully you don't sound like a robot. We're all happy that I don't sound like whatever I sounded like. And
boy, that's for sure.
Are you sure, hon? Because I can bring it right back.
Can I take your order? What do you want, honey?
You're gonna be sleeping with the fishes. Which is where Utica was on Saturday.
They were sleeping.
I mean, it was a 10-4 beatdown. The game was over in the first quarter. I mean, like,
if not the first quarter, the first half, but definitely the first quarter.
Yeah. It was ugly all the way around. We'll get into it here.
For us,
For
it was ugly.
Yeah. Baltimore looked good.
Because Baltimore played their game. Like, they played their game. They did what they needed to do against Utica. We didn't.
Nope. Brandon, you want to open up with the stat that tells the story for you, sir?
Yeah, that one's a little easy. How about 3 goals in 19 seconds? I mean, it doesn't get any easier than that. Like, even I think Brad and I forget who the other person is, PJ, even they were saying it, like, is that a record?
Yeah,
Like,
that was.
I mean, I remember when we scored 3 goals in 45 seconds a few seasons back, and we thought that was really cool. No, Baltimore said, hey, we're going to score 3 times in less than 20 seconds, and you're going to like it.
Yeah, it was very much the embodiment of that scene from SpongeBob where he has in the episode where they all have superpowers. You want to see me run to that rocket back? You want to see me do it again? Just
Yeah, whoever, because somebody literally posted that. Yeah, I remember seeing that.
yeah, I mean, it's hard to argue that.
What was it? It was. Sorry, I was just gonna say, what was it? It was just a goal, a bad clearance from Coughlin, and then I think another goal, something around there, or maybe the Coughlin one was the last.
The Coughlin one was the third one.
Yeah, it was just a bad series of events. But I interrupted you, and I'm
it's
sorry.
all good, all good. No, to build off that, I was gonna say it was 5 total unanswered goals in that first quarter, and they all happened in a span of 2 minutes and 43 seconds.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, on Sunday, the Tacoma Stars and Empire Strikers played a game in which neither of them scored 5 goals in the entire game. Just not. I mean, and then you got shut out for the entire first half.
Literally kept silent for the first half. Yep. Couldn't do anything. Couldn't score anything until a minute and 15 seconds into the third. I mean, I would have loved to be a fly on that on the wall in that locker room, because going in with a shutout, going into halftime, number one was a big momentum boost for Baltimore because they didn't let us answer back at all in the first half, and then that had to be really. It just wasn't good. It wasn't good.
No, I mean, for me, the play that changed the game is that Coughlin giveaway we talked about where he got chipped and they went up 3-0.
Yeah.
They'd just scored 2 goals insanely fast. Call timeout, try to get everything back together. And then Coughlin's playing up to try to get the offense moving. And he kicks the ball directly into Pereira, was it?
It was one.
Yeah,
Pereira, because he was the one that scored.
Straight into him. Into the chest, easy settle, and he just chipped him from midfield.
Yep.
Like, that was your chance to try to pull momentum back your way. Okay, they scored too quick. We're going to call timeout, slow things down, get ourselves set up, and all it did was put fuel on the fire.
Yeah, it unfortunately, just had the complete opposite effect, and they were away to the races. And again, it wasn't like Baltimore was doing anything different. They weren't. They weren't doing anything different than we normally would see them do. They were just playing their game. The problem was we just couldn't seem to do anything to answer it. And we couldn't defend against anything. I don't know. It was just we were like Swiss cheese, and they were the knife.
Yeah, it was ugly all around.
Yeah, there's not much good to say about
Yeah,
this game. There really
any play that
isn't.
stuck-
From a Utica perspective.
Any play that stuck out to you?
Well, I mean, I know I kind of told you these earlier, but I mean, I kind of said that technically my play that changed the game was just the three.
Yeah.
Like, so I mean, technically, if anything, it would have been that third one myself as well. But I kind of, along with the stat that tells the story, that 3 goals in 19 seconds, that was the plays that really just set the tone for this game. That just, they told the story of this game is, 3 goals in 19 seconds. I mean, that's insane. And, it didn't get any better from there. It really didn't. It sucks. But, you have your ups, you have your downs in this league. Like, we get up, it's what is it? It's literally a quote in the Baltimore hype thing for the going in, I believe, the fourth quarter, where it's like, it's not about how hard you hit, it's about how hard you can get hit and get back up. And we just didn't get back up.
This team got punched in the face, hit the mat, and just never. Like, they might have staggered to their feet and taken it the full distance, but they were never in this fight.
No, unfortunately, no. It just, we tried. We got a few goals from a few different people, which I had my wires crossed. I was thinking of the game before this with my positive takeaway. Yeah, no, this was. Although I do have a positive takeaway going around that, but we'll get there. But yeah, overall, it was a very poor performance from Utica, and it honestly kind of plays into a lot of the things that I feel like I've said already that we've needed to work on, and it just feels like we haven't. But when we get to that, I also have a slight tweak to what I've already been saying for like 2 weeks. Or 2 episodes, because it's been longer than
and
that.
that's the what needs to change. And
would you like me to
sure,
go?
because I feel like we're going to have a lot of similar points here.
So, for the past couple episodes, I've been saying that we need to improve our ball control. While I still believe that's true, I also want to alter that statement just a little bit, because I put a lot on, like, Dantas, for instance. Every time we get him the ball, it gets taken away. I don't necessarily fully lend that to ball control. After I've been thinking about it and watching some of the games, and unfortunately rewatching a couple of the games, it feels like, while yes, ball control is a problem, and I feel like we need to recognize when we're getting pressured, and number one, get the ball away. Number two, someone has to make sure that they are available to get the ball to. They need to have that, for lack of a better way of putting it, they need to have that the emergency meeting button available to be able to just get that thing out there to someone else. And if somebody's getting double teamed, they gotta have somebody to be able to get it to. I was thinking, like, I want to say it was Keaton. He was just basically trying to take it to the goal himself a couple of times, and then it got taken away. It's recognition of when you need to get rid of it, and not just try and carry it. Obviously Vinny wants to take it to the hole. Keaton wants to take it there. Everybody, of course, wants to score, but I think a lot of these guys just need to, I don't want to say be less selfish, because that's not what I'm really going for here, but they need to recognize when they need to pass it off to their teammates, and those teammates need to ensure that they are available to be passed off to. So, ball control and that recognition of that are two things. And then again, passing, with the Andrew trying to dump it upfield. I mean, that's just one example of poor passing, that our passing's just not on target. And We gotta fix it. I don't know. I just think a couple of those games just got us overconfident. Between the Empire game, between the almost beating San Diego game, where I'm sure those guys, even though they came out with a loss, probably still felt like they won considering how well they did against San Diego. And then the 2 Harrisburg games. I just feel like we got big for our britches. And these 2 games were the beatdown that hopefully centers these guys and brings everything back into focus. And we turn around. That's what we need to do. We need to turn around. We need to stand back up after our beating, dust the dirt off of us and start again.
Yeah, there's a lot we could talk about on this, but ultimately it comes down to cleaning up the mistakes. As mentioned, the sloppy passes, how easily we're getting out physicaled and dispossessed.
Yep.
Ball watching on defense, my lord. I counted 3 or 4 goals this game where it's one guy, defenders on him, or one of our guys is on defense, on the ball handler, and every other head between that ball handler and the goal is watching the ball handler. No one's watching for off the ball movement. It is awful.
Mm-hmm.
And the half field offense is gone. Just it's the same thing we talked about for a lot of the year last year. Is if this team isn't running, they're not scoring, and you can't really run on the small field. And honestly, they got outran.
They did. That was surprised. That really surprised me is how we got beat on our feet.
Ultimately, what needs to get cleaned up is the coaching. These are back-to-back games where there has been absolutely outcoached. David Bascom has outcoached Everton Moreira in both of these games. He parked the bus, put 5 guys behind the ball at Utica, completely took away the ability to run. And on the smaller field, where you really can't run anyway, he ran a press defense that did not let Utica get the ball out of their end. And Utica just had no answer for it.
Yeah, we were absolutely locked down on our defense. No question. Or on our defensive third.
There's an old cliche in sports. Good teams find a way to win. Bad teams find a way to lose. In San Diego and in Harrisburg, we saw what looked like a good team finding a way to win.
Yeah.
Because despite what the final scoreline says and what the officiating did in San Diego, everyone around the league that doesn't want to call that arena in Oceanside home has basically said in the forums and in the chat groups and the Facebook groups, wow, Utica got screwed. That was their win. So I don't care what the table says. Utica won that game.
Yeah.
And they found a way to win in Harrisburg. But at home, without Kelvin, they found a way to lose it in the final minute. Was it a little bit unlucky? Yep. But you had Gio bear hugging somebody who wasn't even making a play on the ball while there's an unguarded Chad Porch right there to clean up just a bobble from Coughlin because it came off the glass at a weird angle.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then this one, just messy, sloppy. It's at some point you wonder if it's a direct reflection on coaching. Because we've talked about it, how this team's kind of one-dimensional. They're a speed-based offensive team. And defensively, once again, we're asking ourselves a lot of questions.
Yeah, we are.
One goal that stands out was the 4th goal, the Welly Vermoose one. Wall Escora, where he just slid directly between Nelson, who was the closest defender to the ball handler, and Belliard. And when that ball was kicked towards, you watched Belliard follow it, realized that Welly had slid in between him, like without anyone else picking him up, even though he's in his defensive zone, and scrambled to try to get back there, and it was too late.
Yeah.
I don't know
It was
what the answer is, but this team struggles playing a zone defense. And you got to wonder if maybe it'd be better to play man-to-man.
which that was even a comment on commentary, when they saw them switch back to man, and I mean, that seemed to be, it was, I don't know, I couldn't tell for sure when they really made the switch, but that's when things improved, I don't know if it was the second quarter and that's why we held them scoreless for the second quarter and the rest of the game. I don't know. Not scoreless the rest of the game, but if we kept the man-to-man going forward, it seemed that way. But yeah, zone is just, I don't know if we just haven't practiced it as much and we were just trying to do zone that way. I don't know. It just, man-to-man seemed to be the way to go, and that's what worked.
Yeah, man-to-man, you're giving
if anything worked in this game.
This is my guy. I'm playing him.
Yeah.
There is a weird combination called zone man, or man zone. Sorry.
Zone man.
Where you might have one player man mark another one. We kind of saw that by Baltimore up here in Utica. I don't know if you noticed watching that game, but anytime Arshad Ahmadi was on the turf, Pacheco was all over him. Didn't matter where he went. And then the rest of the team was running a 1-2-2 zone, or a 1-1-2 in that situation. For those who don't know what a 1-2-2 or a 1-2-2 zone is, you basically have one guy back in the middle of the box to cover anyone trying to make a run through there. And you have two up here, or two in front of him, kind of more towards the top of the arc, one on either side. And then you have two further up to run a high press to track towards midfield.
Mm-hmm.
Am I an expert on this? Not at all. But I've observed enough games that I've figured out, like, oh, this is this zone. And I've watched enough basketball through the years, Syracuse with a 2-3 zone, that it's ingrained into my DNA how to run a zone defense.
Yeah, you start to figure things out from watching this sport and watching similar sports. And, it just starts to, you start to understand.
And the biggest key to running a successful zone is communication. Hey, someone's moving into your area. Hey, this guy's leaving my area into yours. You need to talk.
Yes.
So
not yell.
I don't know what's going on down there on the turf. We're not down there with them. We're not sweating and giving our all or getting, our psyche. We're just here talking about it.
Right. Yeah, we don't have knowledge from on the field or, in the locker room or anything like that. This is, of course, going to be our interpretation, our speculation. That's how it always is, unless we directly have talked to someone. And even then, we're still potentially not going to use what they say.
Positive takeaway, man. This one's a tough one.
I have one. Okay. We had a positive scoring ratio on sixth attacker. We only got scored on twice. We scored 3 times on sixth attacker. That is not, in my opinion, that doesn't seem to be our usual MO. Usually we'll go sixth attacker, and especially when you have like a high press defense like Baltimore was playing, it seems like, we would go sixth attacker, and then we just lose the ball a couple of times and get open net. I know they had, I want to say one of them was an open net. The other one, our sixth attacker, either our sixth attacker went back or Andrew got back on the field. No, it couldn't have been because it wouldn't be listed as versus 6 attackers. I think our sixth attacker got back in the box to try and get a hand on it and just didn't happen.
Yeah,
Gio, I think
Gio
was our
tried to play it
sixth.
with his foot, and it was like, no, you got to drop to ground and get that with your hand.
Yeah.
I remember that
So
one. Yep.
really, there was only one open netter that we got scored on, and that's not common for us when we're on sixth attacker. So the fact that we scored more than we were scored on sixth attacker, it's the only positive I can really find in this game.
Mhm.
So that's what I'm going with. I'm taking it.
Yeah.
Mine.
Yeah.
Mine. Can't have it. Gonna hug it. Coddle it.
Hey, you have a positive, because mine are depressingly positive. Our positive takeaway is we're a game closer to having Kelvin come back.
Ooh. Yeah, that's not much of a positive. I mean, it is a positive, but it's not in a positive
In
way.
these two games, this team has failed to impress. We know it's tough to win at TU Arena. Everything's different on those smaller fields, but they locked this team down for the first half, and Kelvin is more than just an offensive threat. What's really impressed me is his defense and his ability to dispossess other players.
Oh, he just takes it off their foot like it's nothing.
And this team desperately needs that right now.
Yeah.
The other positive is that next time we play down there isn't until March 15th. So there's time to clean things up and have a better game plan before you return to the small field. So
don't even remind me of that. Don't even remind me of that, Huber. Don't. I don't want to think about that. That's still down the road. I don't want to think about that.
Yeah, we'll cook that dish when it's time to serve.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's a purposeful pun because it's a Riggy weekend that he's bringing up.
Can't wait for that.
So that's that game. It's 10-4. It was ugly. Be a goldfish. That's the best thing I could say. Let's give a little all-star update. Talked last week. And we have our fan vote in with Nilton De Andrade, Leo Acosta in the forward spots, Juan Alava as defender, and Willie B in goal.
I got 2 out of 3. I'm happy. I was pushing for Juan. I was pushing for Willie B. Not that Willie B needed much pushing. He had that all the way from the looks of the voting going in. I mean, who was the second? Paulo,
yeah.
And it was not even close, even after the first report. Like, Willie B is just a fan favorite. Like, he is. I'm starting with goal and moving up. I mean, it was not even a close race the entire time for that one. So well deserved for him. I mean, he absolutely deserves it. I mean, not only is he a good player, he's a good person. So love Willie B to death.
Mm-hmm.
Super happy that he got into that, and can't wait to see him in Utica. Although we get to see him
before that.
But still.
Yeah. Go ahead.
If you want to touch on Willie B, and then I was just going to go up through, but if you want to,
he is everything you said more. We hear he's a big fan of donuts, so if anybody wants to try to sabotage him before Milwaukee Wave comes to town in a couple of weeks, make a drive out to Latham. It's out by Albany. You're going to go to this place called Duck Donuts, and they make your donuts to order. So you can tell them whatever. My go-to is a maple glaze with bacon and a chocolate drizzle on it. It is sweet. It is salty, and it's warm and that's. Or could you like?
I was gonna say, if you like something like that, you need to go to Broadway Bakery. They have a nice maple bacon cupcake that has a little squeegee of maple syrup in it that you can drizzle all over that cupcake. Oh,
God,
So,
look,
and
I'd love
that's
to bring back one of my favorites from my trip to the Texas State Fair, which was a
Mhm.
deep fried bacon wrapped cinnamon roll. Yeah,
That
they,
sounds
they
like a
cook
heart
the
attack.
bacon enough so that it's done, but it's, not crispy, but it's cooked. And they
Yeah,
roll it
yeah,
in the
yeah.
cinnamon roll, so it's in the cinnamon swirls. And they deep fry it with funnel cake batter, and then hit it with the powdered sugar and some bacon bits on top. Oh my God.
I'm so glad that I've already eaten dinner because I'm full. And yeah, all this stuff sounds amazing, but man, if I hadn't already eaten and I was hungry, I'm sorry. Don't listen to this while you're hungry.
Look, you ever need some fat guy tips? We know a couple guys.
I would say so. We're
You
experts.
stay puffed, Marshmallow Man.
That's right. For those on the audio version, I am wearing a Stay Puft Marshmallow Man hoodie, so that's what these comments are coming from. Since you can't see
Yeah.
me, like John Cena.
Uh, on defense, Lava. He,
I was just.
I was gonna
Go
say
ahead.
he seemed to have some pushback from the fans, but look, he's a Utica boy. Was obviously gonna get a lot of votes. I was campaigning a little bit for Logan because I had a ideal reunion where you would get Nate and Joey and Logan and Coughlin all out there together again.
That would be nice. I mean, we've been singing Juan's praises
But yeah, no.
all season. I mean, he's absolutely a fantastic defender. And we like Juan. Like he's a super nice guy too. But I will say a very close second for me had to be Pat Thompson. I literally would have been thrilled if Pat made it as well because again, he's a former Utica guy and we still keep in touch. Like he's another amazing person and he's a great player. I mean, again, just look at this past weekend. He's on defense. He got a hat trick.
I
May have been on us, and it kind of hurt, but
I don't know if it'll happen this Sunday, but like I'd say at least a half dozen of the Baltimore guys, including Pat, were in 72 after this last game on New Year's Eve, and I'd have loved to have gone and chatted, but my voice was so shot. Like Andrew wished us a happy New Year. We barely had much of a conversation. I sounded like this. We saw a friend of the pod, Phil Levanko, a little bit on our way out, and yeah, no,
nice.
it hurts to talk, so I can't get myself involved in a full-on conversation around the league.
No, I'm definitely going to be trying to at minimum say hi before the match, and then if we can see him after at 72 or something, that would be great.
Yeah,
because like I said, Pat's another great one.
Man, Juan, well deserved. So far on the season, I think I can attribute 2 goals allowed to him being the closest defender. But when you figure Utica's given up 21 in the last 3 alone, like 2 goals total on the season is pretty good. He might not be a stat sheet kind of guy, but defense is more than stats.
Agreed. A lot of defensive stats don't get the love that they deserve. We've always talked about, steals should be a thing. I know that'd be hard to track, but steals should be a thing. That would be, one thing that absolutely should be recorded. And I mean, he would definitely have a few. I mean, he's another one that has the potential to just take it off their foot like Calvin. And, I want to see more. I always want to see more from him. And, I know that he's always looking to improve. So,
yeah.
And
then we get to the forwards. Leo Acosta, who is having a breakout campaign for Kansas City.
Yep.
No question there. And Nilton De Andrade, who anyone that's listened knows that I picked him to be an all MASL Team 2 this year. A little bit of a slow start. Utica showing up for their own. But
boy,
I did want to compare because kind of a slow start this year. And I went back and I remembered him having a slow start last year. And over the same number of games, he only had 1 more point. So,
wow. Okay. I'll be honest. I only had one that I cared about
Uh-huh.
in the forwards, and that was Joey. Like I was going to people on the discords that I have that don't even know anything about the sport. I was talking to people. I was campaigning for Joey. Like I wanted so badly for him to get in, and it is what it is. I'm very happy for both of them, for both Milton and Leo, that they got in. Honestly, I was surprised that Carvalho didn't get in. I really am. Like I really thought that he was in for sure. But I mean, all of these were really good players. I mean, all of them are good. All of them perform well. All of them deserve it. So just because I didn't get the result that I wanted, it is what it is.
Look, all
Well
I'll
deserved.
say is that a game day roster normally has 14 field players and 2 goalkeepers per side. And right now we are set to have, with the commissioner's pick, 13 field players per side and 2 goalkeepers per side. So, Commissioner Tozer, we've already had this chat. You never answered. Take it upon yourself. Pick 4. Give us the full rosters for the All-Star game.
Yeah, why not?
Joey Tavernisi.
Call it bonus picks.
Joey Tavernisi. Alex Sanchez of Milwaukee. He's putting up 2.5 points per game. It's his 3rd season. Complete breakout year for him. He's an offensive weapon they needed. I think if you got to go legacy players, you go Craig Childs.
Of course.
He's in his 40s now, or he's been in his 40s. And in the past 2 seasons, he's had 40 points over each of them. So, great. Put him in there. And
I'm personally shocked he's not already in.
Let's get someone else from Chihuahua. They're the back-to-back champions. I'm sure there's somebody on that team that's deserving. I just haven't done enough digging around, because I just thought of hey, what if we do this? Just give him 4 picks right now on the spot. I did not have it planned.
Yeah, I mean, I'm amazed that team does not have more representation. I was kind of laughing because I watched the San Diego Chihuahua game, and I was laughing the whole time when they were talking about how Chihuahua doesn't have that much representation on the All-Star team, and I'm like, oh heck, why don't we just do this? Why don't we just build a roster of all non-Chihuahua players and make them play Chihuahua?
But it has to be on a full-size field, because otherwise Chihuahua's going to win.
Yes, it doesn't matter if you get the best players in the league and put them on that field. Chihuahua's still going to beat everybody.
Man, they have such an advantage on that field, just like Baltimore there on TU.
Yeah.
Although
you say that, but I want to say Baltimore had more 3-line violations than we did in their own arena. So that was surprising.
Let's see. They got Roberto Escalante, and I think that was it. Yeah, Escalante is the only one from Chihuahua. I mean, you could put Reynosa. Well, you can't put Reynosa if you're going on the 2 goalkeeper per side limit.
Right.
You put Hugo Puentes. I think Tovar's been very good for them over his career. But I mean,
who did you say was on the All-Star team already?
Escalante, defender.
Escalante. Okay. Yeah, that's literally if he wasn't already there, he should absolutely be one, considering his defensive capability.
Yeah. Jorge Rios is off to a fantastic start. Brian Macias, Tavar. Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of talent down there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Popper Hernandez hasn't played a ton this year. I think he's only a home game kind of guy.
But I mean, he would play something like.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, if it's an all-star game, you're going to come out for it.
Mm-hmm. Plenty, but you can get a fourth guy off of there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anything else you want to say about the All-Star game?
There will be
Sogs. Reminder, it is a Wednesday night, February 12th. So if you want to have a wonderful date night for Valentine's Day, I would recommend that because everybody knows it's going to be crowded and annoying anywhere you go on Friday night for the 14th.
Boy, that's for sure. And the weekend.
Mm-hmm. Although on that day, one of my favorite bands is releasing a new album, so I will be enjoying that.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
You ever hear of Punk Rock Factory? British band, as the name implies, punk rock, but they just do covers. So there's a couple albums where they're doing Disney covers, or one of my favorites is a Broadway cover album.
Oh,
and the one coming out
Yeah.
on February 14th is a 90s pop hits album.
Oh. I would like that.
Uh-huh.
Just because, I don't
No.
know. 90s music had
The
something
one you
about
would
it.
like is called Masters of the Uniworst, and it's like Saturday morning cartoons. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Scooby-Doo, the Flintstones. It has Arthur.
You know me too well.
Arthur punk rock on there. Wouldn't expect it, but it.
I never watched Arthur.
Yeah.
Wasn't my thing.
The Power Rangers theme song.
Oh, now you got me.
Pokemon. Oh yeah, no, it is a phenomenal. album.
Listen. You had me with Power Rangers. Why you gotta keep going?
Hubert, to answer your question, Tozer's announcement is supposed to be Monday the 13th. He is away this weekend for the
days.
United Soccer Coaches Convention this year. It's taking place in Chicago. But
That's enough out of you, Peanut Gallery. Let him talk about the Power Ranger cover. Go away.
I'll send it to you, Brandon. So let's talk this weekend. It's another matchup with Baltimore, our third straight.
But we're talking now.
But let's talk about this weekend. Let's make some plans. But I think there's one big question that can change the way this game goes. Where's Gordy?
And it shouldn't be a question. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Different
question.
Where's Gordy? He wasn't listed on the injury report in either of them. I'd already lost my voice by the time he came around during the game. Could barely wish him a happy new year. So I didn't get a chance to ask him why he was out, if it was an injury or a healthy scratch. And if it's an injury, let's hope it's something that he can come back from quickly, because this team obviously needs some off-ball movement, some backdoor toe pokes, some scrappiness.
Yep.
And if it's a help, what are we doing? What are we doing?
Sorry, you completely cut out. I'm assuming you said if it's a healthy scratch.
Yeah, if it's a healthy scratch, what are we doing?
Yeah. Well, I got curious because obviously we know he's coaching for Krasnick.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's got anything to do with that, which I can't see that being the case, but if it does, Krasnick does not play on Sunday. So he should be freed up from that. Because they don't play again until next Sunday. So
Yeah,
it depends. I mean, if that's been a contributing factor, then he should be freed up.
Yeah, I don't know. He was the heart and soul of the team 2 years ago. Injuries hurt last year. Looked like he had a good chemistry thing going with Kelvin this year.
Mhm.
And then when, much like Avatar Aang, when Utica needed him most, he vanished without a trace.
And yet he's still third
Yeah.
on our score
Uh-huh.
on our game on our roster.
I don't know if he changes things in Baltimore, but I would put money on it that the All-Star game or the home game on New Year's Eve might have ended differently.
Yeah, I could see that.
Think of how many forced shots there were in that one that went nowhere versus someone
There was a lot of those in
a
Baltimore
little
too.
more selective, a little more able to beat you off the dribble without just blowing by you at speed.
Yeah. And Huber, I would love DJ back. I'm sad we did not sign him. I would have loved to have DJ on the team. Like, we didn't get to see enough of him last season.
No, we didn't.
And we know he can score in Baltimore.
Mm-hmm. He can. But I don't know. I haven't heard anything about Gordy. I've reached out to a couple to try to get answers and have not gotten anything back. So
Yeah.
I'm leaning that it might be a healthy scratch in my mind.
I hope
And
so.
if it's a healthy scratch, I'm honestly more worried if it's a healthy scratch than it is a injury.
Well, I'd rather it be a healthy scratch personally, just because, we want to know he's okay.
Well, yes.
And he's in good health. But that would lead to more questions of why aren't we playing him? So could be personal reasons, could be who knows. Like, I just lean towards hopefully he's okay.
But at the moment, there's nothing listed for Utica on the availability report or Baltimore, so can't say anything as far as this weekend goes. Brandon, you did give your caveat of how if things didn't get fixed, they would go, but then you stuck to your guns and said Utica was going to win.
I was so close. On that
You know that thing on the whole multiple choice test where they tell you never to change your answer? Never change your answer.
Yep. I would have had our score spot on.
So I'll get the point last week. And
you take your point.
Puts me back up 4-2. So, how do you see things going this weekend?
So I'm gonna give you 2 again, and there's a reason for that. This is all based on how tomorrow goes. If Calvin makes it back, because I kind of have to give you 2. If Calvin's involved and if he's not.
Okay, that's fair, because if they lose and he can catch a flight on Saturday.
Yeah. So, I kind of need to give you 2. I mean, I think it's fair to give you 2. If Calvin's back, I can see this going pretty well. Just because Baltimore has not played against Calvin yet this season. No, they didn't play against him last season either. So they haven't played against him at all. They have no idea. Well, other than game tape, they don't have any idea what to expect from him. So obviously they'll be marking him up pretty good, but we also know he can get out of just about anything. So if he's back, home crowd in Utica, loud, boisterous, you heckling.
Tell it was my voice.
I'm actually going to say if Calvin is back, I'm repeating my score from last week of 8-4 in Utica in our favor. But if he's not, I think we see almost a repeat of the not this past game, but the previous one in Utica. And I think I think it's I know the last one was a 6-5. I think it's going to be a 7-5 Baltimore.
Okay.
If we don't fix anything and we don't have Calvin.
Okay. I understand needing the two predictions. Do you want to lean in either one more likely? No?
No.
No?
No, the reason is because they both only make sense
Depending
if
on...
the Calvin factor is not there. It is or is not there.
I guess that's
So
fair.
one only makes sense if Calvin's there. One makes sense only if he's not
Okay.
there. So I can't really give you one or the other, and I can't lean towards one or the other without seeing what happens tomorrow. In my personal opinion, if you wanted me to lean one way or the other,
Yeah.
I don't think that they lose tomorrow, which means no Calvin this weekend, which means potentially bad game for Utica. And it's not like I've lost faith in Utica. It's not that at all. It's just look at the track record. Look at the past two games.
Mhm.
This does not seem to. Last year was our year against Baltimore. We had their number. This year, when we don't have Calvin, not so much. So, I think 7-5 Baltimore is a realistic number.
Okay.
Given what we've seen before, and given that, potentially, if they go up earlier than in the last few seconds, and it's like 6-5, we go 6 attacker, and then they end up scoring on us. That's how I see it happen.
Okay. No, I agree that the Calvin factor is a massive difference in this game.
Yeah.
But like you said, I don't see them losing tomorrow.
Yeah.
Mexico made it into the quarterfinals by winning their final game of the double elimination group stage. Quite literally, the round that they were playing in was called Last Chance.
Okay.
And they advanced today in a game that went 2-2 and then 4-3 in shootouts.
Oh wow! So they barely
Calvin
skirted
scored
through.
more than that in the first 10 minutes of the game against Turkey.
I was gonna say.
But Brazil won 12-4. So I fully expect Calvin and Co. to absolutely dominate against L3. And right now, the way the team responded in the first half tells me that they might be damaged a bit psychically. Not like there's magicians casting evil spells on their minds, but
listen, I was not gonna go there. I really wanted to, but I didn't.
They might be getting in their own heads a little bit because the mistakes snowballed so quickly. Kind of like we saw in the game on New Year's Eve. They didn't snowball super quick in that one, but it ended on a mistake, and then it turned into 5 unanswered goals to open the game for Baltimore.
Yeah. Yep.
So I need to see them shake this, and I don't know if they're ready to. Simply because Bascombe has had this team's number.
They have, or he has, yes.
I fully expect them to park the bus, take away the ability to run, and know that their half-field offense can beat this defense because someone's going to be watching a ball or looking the wrong way, or you're going to have 3 guys go to take on one ball handler and leave people open in the middle of the box. So I'm taking Baltimore in this 8-5.
Ooh. Even bigger lead than mine.
I'd love to see Utica turn it around.
Of course.
Really, I think it's what happens first. Like, I'm not saying who scores first, but if Utica goes down by a couple goals in the first half and they're
Mhm.
playing from behind again, like they still haven't had a lead on Baltimore this season.
No, they haven't.
So
Yeah, we had flashbacks. I mean, I definitely had flashbacks in the second game there of just, going down 2, taking a pause, and then refocusing, and then it just, yeah, it went further downhill.
yeah. I don't know if right now they're in a place mentally where they're able to dig themselves out of a hole if they get themselves into it.
Yeah.
Or if it turns into the overthinking, over worrying, and those problems just compound.
Mhm.
So
The way I see it is the only way that they're going to get around that kind of stuff is something we've kind of talked about. In those instances, when things go wrong, you have an errant pass from Keaton. You've got, a bad handling of the ball, a bad clear from Andrew. Goldfish. Anytime some of that stuff comes up, anytime something like that happens, learn from it, goldfish. Learn from it, goldfish. That's it. Push it from your head. Move on, man up, and give it back to him tenfold.
yeah, because I know
They are 1-0 when we've been in attendance. Just saying. When I've been there, me and Huber. So we're just the good luck charms.
I know we rested guys the last time we played there at the end of the season last year, but we have not had a lead on Baltimore since it was 2-1, 6.5 minutes into that game. They tied at 8.5 minutes in, so 45 and 51. It's like 170 minutes of straight soccer against these guys where they have either been tied or leading Utica.
Yeah, we need to
You
change
gotta
that.
get that boogeyman out of your head. At
Yes.
home's the perfect place to do it.
Absolutely.
I would love to walk in here next week on whatever night we get to record and be like, "Yep, Brandon, you get the point," because Utica won. But
Why would I get the point?
because you had them losing, but by less.
Okay.
So you're closer to the reality.
Okay. All right. Fair. I was like, how does he figure?
We can't just have nobody win. We can't both lose. One of us has to win.
Yeah, fair. No, we'll give the point to Huber.
But I believe that's everything from us tonight. Unless you have something else.
I don't have anything else.
All right.
I mean, we're trying to obviously stay constructive, but at the same time, it was just it's been a hard couple weeks. And you know what? It sucks, but you're always going to have your ups in sports. You're always going to have your downs in sports. You may coast on the top for a while. You may coast on the bottom for a while. Eventually, things turn around. And we just need that turnaround to happen sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
Oh, that's all I had to say.
Well,
What more do you want from me?
sorry, you're talking about how you coast at the top, you coast at the bottom, and my brain went into this flat circle about time and where things stand as me as a Tennessee Titans fan right now, because things are not going good over there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking, like, if you think about it, like, I was actually thinking about it in terms of, like, the Patriots. So we both had football on the brain.
Yeah.
The Patriots were able to coast on the top for quite a while, but before that, for a long time, they coasted on the bottom for quite a while. You think about it in terms of the MSL, who do we normally think of as being kind of the equivalent of somebody who coasts near the top? San Diego, every single year. They're coasting right near the top. Well, yes, Chihuahua. But I'm always, whenever I think that, I'm immediately thinking San Diego, because whenever you're thinking top of the table, they're always at very least close. So San Diego always coasts at the top, and who coasts at the bottom? Unfortunately, that usually is allocated to Harrisburg, Dallas, and in a couple years, or it could be as early as next year, all of a sudden Harrisburg leading the table. That will be a world. And San Diego's like middle of the board. Right? But hey, you know what? It could happen. Because we're still living in the past. Like we're not there yet. That can happen. Whether it's really going to happen is a different story, but it could. Just saying.
All right. Well, that's all we got for this one then. You guys know the drill. Like, subscribe, follow us on social media, share the video. Be loud on Sunday. Public store. I'm waiting for a couple things to happen and then to drop a new design. Brandon's seen it. He's a fan.
Big fan. Like a standing fan, I'm a big
like
fan.
An industrial one? Or
like an industrial box fan.
Nice. So until next time, he's Brandon. I'm Matt. Go Utica.
Let's do this on Sunday. And also,
Thank you for listening to the Keeper's Corner podcast on whatever podcast app you use. Please make sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. If you'd like to interact with us, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and Twitter or X, whatever you prefer to call it. We have a TeePublic shop where you can get UCFC player swag or help support the podcast. Thank you. We appreciate it. And one last thing. Go Utica City.